So hello everyone, in this video we learn about LWC lifecycle hooks. So in LWC we have a 6 lifecycle hooks. First one is a constructor, connected callback, render callback, disconnected callback and error callback. So if we talk about a constructor, so whenever our component is created in DOM, at the time constructor is called, and after that whenever our component is inserted and connected with the DOM, at the time connected callback call, and a render function is like for rendering our default template and our custom template. Once our template is successfully rendered in DOM, at the time render callback is called. After completing the render, whenever after process, whenever our component is removed from the DOM, at the times disconnected callback call, and during this life cycle of period, if any error occurred, at that time error callback call. So let's test and try this lifecycle hooks by creating a new LWC component. So first we have to create a new LWC component. So for that I am using a Visual Studio Code. So you can also use a VS Code, or you can download a Lightning Studio Chrome extension to create LWC component. So first we have to create LWC component. So just right click on this LWC folder, create Lightning Web component. So give the name first LWC, choose the directory. So our component is created in our local directory. So first we are going to write about all lifecycle hooks. So first we write constructor. So to invoke constructor, we have to use a super method. We have to call the super method. So basically, which is call the parent class constructors. So here we have a parent class is a lightning element. So to invoke the parent class constructor, we have to call the super method. So we write the super method and also write one log constructor called. Now connected callback. Connected callback called. Okay, then we have to write a render callback, log render callback call. Okay, now we have a disconnected callback. So whenever our component is removed, so after that disconnect callback is called. Okay, so let's understand the use case of this lifecycle hooks. So first we have a constructor. So we all know that when we have to implement variables, we have to initialize a value in our declared variable. So at the time we use a constructor. So in connected callback, so whenever you have to fetch any data like account data, lead data from your salesforce org, then before rendering your HTML template, so you can use a connected callback to fetch the data. Inside the connected callback, you can call any method to fetch the data. So render callback is used if you want to make changes in your DOM elements after rendering the template. If you want to change any form, if you want to change any input, lightning input or something else, so then you can use a render callback. So when render callback is actually called, so whenever any property have changes, suppose if you have a like a list variable, and that list variable you are using in HTML, so if you change in list variable, which is a property, which is like a reactive property, so our HTML template is automatically update that changes and render our HTML template again. So after that render callback is called. So if you want to make any changes after rendering your HTML template, then you can use the render callback. So disconnected callback is like if you want to perform any action after component is removed from the DOM, then you can use a disconnected callback. So let's deploy this LWC component. Okay, so our LWC component is deployed successfully. So we have to create a tab, one lightning component tab. So click on this new button and select your LWC component. So right now we don't have any option to select here. So for that we have to give the scope. We have to set target and make this component expose. So we have to add one target here to create a tab. So you have to add this lightning tab in meta XML file. Now we have to deploy again these changes. So if you are making any changes in Visual Studio Code in component, then you have to deploy these changes to your Salesforce org. So let's refresh this page. So now we have an option, so just give the label and select the tab icon. Okay, next you can also choose a visibility for each profile, so we go with the default and just save this. Now we have to search about that tab, open a new tab. Okay, so open inspect elements, console. So in console our component is successfully rendered here. So we can see here first constructor callback is called, then after connected callback, and after successfully rendered our HTML template, render callback is called. Okay, so let's understand about the render function. So when we have to use a render function, so suppose if we have to create a render function here. Okay, so you have to return HTML template here. So first you have to create one HTML page in this LWC component, and by default render function is automatically take your default template, which is my first LWC HTML template. So this is the default HTML template. So if you want to render any different HTML page based on your condition, so you can create a new HTML template here. So suppose taste.html, and then you have to wrap with the template tag and just give the message. Okay, now we have to import this HTML template in our JavaScript file taste.html, and just we have to use this taste here. So now our component is going to render this taste.html file. Okay, let's deploy these changes. Okay, so refresh this page and we can see our message hello world in our page. Okay, close this. Okay, so message is not available. Render. Okay, let me deploy this again. Okay, our HTML is successfully deployed. We imported this. We just use this. Okay, hard refresh. Okay, now we can see our message is successfully rendered. So that's how you can use a different LWC lifecycle hooks as per your need and as per your project requirement. So that's it for this video. And okay, so one more topic, like if you are using a child component, then how this process actually going to work. So let me show you one image. So here you can see how actually parent and child component render. So whenever you use any child component inside your parent component, so the process start like first our constructor is called like parent constructor. Then after any public properties are initialized, then a component is inserted into a DOM. Then we have a connected callback is called. Then component like parent component is going to render and it check if any child. So before render callback, it check if any child component is exist. Then it go and start the process for the child component. And once all the child component is successfully rendered, so same process from constructor to render also happens in child component. So sometimes child component is also a parent component for grandchild components. So the process is like bottom to top for the render callback, and for the connected callback is top to bottom process. Okay, so once our child component is successfully rendered, if there is any no child exists, then it call the render callback and go for the parent, and also parent call the render callback. So here and the life cycle after this. So that's how it actually works behind the in the backend process for the parent to child component. Okay, so now that's it for this video. In the next video we discuss about decorators in LWC. So thank you so much for watching this video.